On this week's episode, we're talking what's happened to the movies in January. Is Bright worthy of a sequel? And what Marvel news has us gearing up for an Infinity War? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And yes, we're back again. It's another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. And you know, if it isn't a true Pop Culture Cosmos show without my good friend, the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanik Media. And you can check out all their great stuff today on Humanik Media on Facebook and Twitter. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
Hey. Just closing up the night here with a little round of podcast editing. Something you probably know nothing about because you never edit podcasts ever. You never really do anything. This is your very first podcast, so welcome to the club.
Yeah, there's a lie if I ever heard one. In fact, I'm going to get to know podcast editing real well over the night hours, but we won't talk about that right now because it just scares me even more. But we're going to have a great show for you today right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you so much for being a part of it. I've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to bring up some great pop culture topics with me, and we're just going to go, mano y mano as far as talking the latest stuff in pop culture. Plus also as well, Josh and I are going to talk about the Bright movie on Netflix and does it really deserve a sequel? And also as well, later in the broadcast, we're going to finish it out with some great talk on Marvel and what we are gearing up for that will help lead us into the Infinity War. And also a great idea that I know some other podcasts are doing. I want to give a shout out to Nate Phillips and his Journey into Comics Network. I know they're going to be breaking it down too. You want to give them a listen, but Josh and I, we need to refresh our memories a little bit on some of the great things that have gone on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we've got some great things coming up, and I know we're going to touch on that a little bit more as well at the end of the podcast. But definitely a great show indeed. But first off, Josh, another great weekend at the box office. Jumanji, like I said, ever since the calendar has rolled over into 2018, it's been out with The Last Jedi and in with Jumanji. It's now grossed over $500 million worldwide. It's number one again. Its first weekend. It's number one at in this time at the box office. It's been number one for days during the week. So I ask you, Josh, all this stuff is great and going on from films in previous months. What's going on with the months? What's going on with the movies in the month of January? Because Insidious, number 4, and then there's really not much to talk about, is there?
It's kind of like going into Blockbuster back when Blockbuster existed and not being able to find anything that's worth watching. Like you comb the new release walls for just anything to make the time go by, and you just don't see anything, so you end up renting Jurassic Park for the 12th time in a row.
Well, I'll tell you what, exactly. And The Commuter with Liam Neeson, it's coming out very soon, but we've seen this trick before from him.
It's a boring looking movie. Like, I don't know, like the trailers, they don't look appealing to me. And it's been done. What's that movie with that one with Sam Worthington, and then there's another one with I think Keira Knightley a while back, and Clive Owen did something like that too. It's all been done before.
Yeah, and it's just him just being in this type of environment. I mean, we've seen this before from him with the Taken series, nonstop. This is not the first time we've seen him in this action hero role, and it goes to a larger problem that we once used to talk about a long time ago, with January being the worst month of the year for movies, because back in the old days, movie industry as a whole, movie companies would actually send these movies out in January that they didn't have any faith in. to literally die. They just had obligations to put them on the screen, and they were filling them out by putting them in January with really nothing to really be confident about. But last year, with Hidden Figures, Rogue One, Sing, even Passengers, which was $100 million hit domestically, although it may, depending on who you talk to, it may or may not have met expectations. Those movies were still doing okay at the box office. In fact, Hidden Figures really started to do well. The year before that, I think, was American Sniper and all that. It started to get some hope for movie audiences that January could still be a great time to go to the movies. Then this calendar year happens. What is going on with Hollywood and not putting out good movies still in January?
Well, because it's funny you mentioned American Sniper, because they're like, that they have the movie 12 Strong with Chris Hemsworth and Michael Shannon coming out, and it seems like they're trying to recapture that, whatever you want to call that.
I mean, I saw the ads for it in Hollywood, and I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what it's going to be? It's a story that I'm not too familiar with, but it's directed by Jerry Bruckheimer, and it's got that whole they're trying to it seems to me like they're trying to recapture that Black Hawk Down vibe, which I actually really enjoyed Black Hawk Down. But besides 12 Strong and maybe Maze Runner: The Death Cure, I don't really see any of these other movies doing so hot, or fading into obscurity pretty quickly.
Den of Thieves, that just looks like another give me a paycheck type of film from from Geostorm, that going into that. And then you also have, like you said, Maze Runner, Death Cure. That looks like it looks like just an obligation to put out that third movie. And I know Maze Runner was initially a success, and the sequel really disappointed in their eyes. So this looks like it's just a cash grab as well. And they're just throwing it up there to finish the series off. And it just really disappointing at the number of films. Paddington 2, it looks like that is also going to probably be something that's not very good at all. The Post, yeah, it's going wide and whatnot, but I'm not getting that same type of feel from this Steven Spielberg movie as I think a lot of people are waiting for when it comes to Ready Player One. So I ask you, Josh, I mean, we saw it last year. January could still be a great time to go see movies, and still the dollars could be rolling in. Why do you think that this year is so bad compared to the previous couple years? And it seems like it's reverting back to its old ways of just putting junk out on the screen.
Well, I think it's a trend. I think it's kind of a fallback from just a year of box office disasters. So we're not seeing and I don't think that this is going to be limited to January. I think just going forward, we're going to be seeing less and less really good, interesting movies. Of course we're going to be seeing our Marvel and our Disney and whatnot. They're the same thing, but I'm not seeing a big. I'm not seeing this changing much in the months that aren't specific to blockbuster numbers.
I agree with you. It just looks very disappointing right now. And you're higher on the Cloverfield movie coming out in February. I know that. I know also as well that Rob McCallum is definitely, and he's going to, lambaste me on it coming up here, I'm sure pretty soon in the Cosmic Crossfire. But until February, when that Cloverfield movie comes out, or if it gets, till that, and also 50 Shades Freed and some others come out in February, and then it all leads into Black Panther, which comes out, I believe, at the end of February. And I also want to make a correction. I apologize for saying that the Star Wars Solo movie is coming out in late March. Actually, is coming out during Memorial Day weekend. So I would, right now, it's still targeted there. But I still haven't seen any trailers yet, so I'm kind of concerned it's not going to come out then. But that's another issue. But yeah, it looks like February is going to be a much better month for films. I'm just kind of disappointed that January, that really is reverting back to the old days where nothing but junk came out on the screen. So be patient, movie fans. Be patient indeed, because January is going to be a long month with some pretty forgettable films at the box office. But hold out hope, because come February, definitely it's going to change with some really strong movies coming out that I think will be able to really make a difference and make us forget about how bad these movies are in the month of January. What are your thoughts on the movies in January? Are you targeting any of them? Maybe The Commuter, Paddington 2, Proud Mary. Are you going to go check out Insidious? Did you check out the latest Insidious, Maze Runner, The Death Cure? Any one of these films? Are you really excited for the month of January movies? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Humanik Media on Facebook, Game Source on Facebook, and hey, all three are on Twitter as well. So that's definitely check us out, send us messages. You catch the latest news just on pop culture from all those outlets, and you definitely wouldn't be you won't regret not following us on Facebook and Twitter. So definitely it's going to be a great show for you. It's going to be a great show we have for you today. We've got a lot of great stuff. Like I said, Rob McCallum is standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. Plus, Josh and I are going to be talking a lot of great stuff when it comes to Netflix. Also, as well, Marvel goodness coming up later in the broadcast. But first, it's Josh's good friend Chad, his compadre in crime. He runs the band called Hyperschmidt. They make some great music, and you got to check out his channel on YouTube. It's Hyperschmidt. HYPERSCHMITT. And this is After All. And this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with more of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Joe Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the podcast. We certainly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. Josh, I know you got a lot of great things going on in Humanik Media, and I want you to let me know exactly everything that's going on there. But first, I want to give everybody an update what's going on with a great show on the Gonna Geek channel, on the Gonna Geek Network, and that's from the great show Just One More Fix. You want to check them out because James and Lacey are taking a look at the upcoming RPGs and what games they're looking forward to in 2018. And they also want to do, they also wrap up the year in gaming in 2017 and just a lot of great things going on in that show. So you want to check it out on the Gonna Geek podcast. That's Just One More Fix. And that you want to check that out on the Gonna Geek podcast channel. Definitely check it out today. That's Just One More Fix from our friends at Gonna Geek. We're also on Gonna Geek, but we're on a lot more outlets, including Apple Podcasts, also as well Podchaser, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, Google Play, and you want to check us out on any one of those channels or on our over dozen audio outlets. But Josh has got a great thing going on with Humanik Media. You can catch that on Podbean, YouTube, podcast.com, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. So, Josh, what are the great shows that you've got coming up very soon at your awesome channel known as Humanik Media?
You forgot to mention the Pop Culture Cosmos is also on Napster and WinMX, LimeWire, anywhere. Yeah, and anywhere you want to pirate podcast, you can find us. That's just we want to make it easy for you.
We may be going on vinyl next.
Yes, vinyl. For Humanik Media, we have coming up this week. Tomorrow you can listen to a brand new What About This? A new episode of Topicocalypse went up tonight. I'm sure this week sometime there'll be a new episode of Inside Sports. And there's other things too, I'm sure. I just cannot remember what they are right now. Just keep up to date on our Facebook page, and you'll see everything that we post in its entirety.
So many things. I'll tell you what, that are on your channel. A lot of great stuff. What About This? Topicocalypse, Inside Sports, Super BS Gamescast. You got to check out all those awesome podcasts today. get the info on how to listen to it by just checking out and liking and following the Humanik Media Facebook and Twitter pages. Well, tell you what, Netflix has done very well again with another movie that has garnered lots of views and millions of views. In fact, so much so that they just greenlit a sequel for it, and that is for Bright, which is the kind of like reimagining near future fantasy cop movie starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. I think, let's just put it this way. It's done so well. Like I said, it has garnered a sequel, but it hasn't garnered great critical response. In fact, a lot of people are disliking the movie hand over fist, but that hasn't stopped viewers from watching the movie and watching it in tons. I want to ask you, Josh, this comes hot off the heels of Adam Sandler and his movies actually doing very well on Netflix, despite critical backlash as well. What does this say about our viewing habits when it comes to seeing stars that we traditionally see on the big screen come to the small screen and have movies specially made for them from the Netflix channel?
I think it's a safer option for them because, look at Will Smith's career. Like, what was the last thing he did that was truly, I think, Pursuit of Happiness, probably the last movie he did that was garnered really any type of acclaim. Other than that, like his other, his movies, they've been okay, but they haven't, they've gotten a lot of criticism among fans. They've gotten a lot of, sorry, my dog's drinking water.
Gotta love Josh's dogs. Always on cue.
Okay, yeah. So his last few movies, they haven't done so well among critics and fans. So I think it's same thing with Adam Sandler. So I think putting something on Netflix is a lot safer bet than say putting all your eggs into a big budget Hollywood basket. But from what I understand, the Adam Sandler movie's been very popular. Bright is doing well amongst casual couch watchers. It's garnered. Obviously, the critics don't like it, but it's not. It's getting a lot of views from people who just want to sit on their couch and watch movies, and I think that might be a safer model for stars who are people are unsure of their success on the big screen, but they might garner a better following on Netflix. Netflix has. They basically don't have anything to lose by catering something to somebody who used to be famous.
And that's something I wanted to ask you, and that sounds like you already given me the answer pretty much in detail. That if you see other actors of that ilk with the Adam Sandlers and Will Smiths that people still know readily and that haven't fallen that far that we have forgotten about them, they're still very widely known, and you could see that even if they're not having the same kind of success that they did maybe 5-10 years ago, that they could still go into a Netflix and still create some semblance of magic as far as putting something out there. So I agree with you. I see what they're doing as a start off point for other actors and actresses who we've become familiar with, and I'll let you speculate on any actors, actresses that might follow that lead. But I definitely see actors and actresses of that ilk following that lead, making projects specifically for Netflix. And if it turns out well, and I see that pipeline continuing, and I also see HBO, Hulu, and so many others. I think a lot of these streaming services probably will try to garner their own, I don't want to say A-list actor at this point, maybe an A- actor, an A- list actor, B+ list actor, or list actor as someone that they can go ahead and start bankrolling their movies off of, and also their original productions off of as well. So I see that happening going forward for quite a few of them, if not just at Netflix. I see them at on some of these other streaming services as well.
Yeah. So there's a big pool to to take from. Obviously we're not going to see The Rock on Netflix anytime soon, but Vin Diesel is a name that comes to mind, assuming the Fast and the Furious franchise stops at some point. Vin Diesel's someone I think we could see in a Netflix movie. Maybe there's
Johnny Depp was somebody I would throw out.
Johnny Depp, even I would say Will Ferrell, because his movies have gotten so low budget and so frequent that he might as well be on Netflix with Adam Sandler.
Definitely, I think that's a good choice. I think Daddy's Home 2 has been a big hit for him, but for every Daddy's Home 2, there is, what was it, the club that he did where he was doing a casino movie. Yeah, it was considered one of the worst movies of the year last year. So definitely his work is very uneven right now. So he may be the next one to fall in line for be made on Netflix. What are your thoughts on Bright? As far as, did you enjoy it on Netflix? Is it something you think was worthy of a sequel? Because we're not exactly high on it here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, but we see a continuing trend of individual name actors and actresses that are going to start with their own vehicles. We think that's going to happen with Netflix or other streaming services. What are your thoughts? popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Do you think, well, I want to hear your thoughts on who or what names you have in mind that might follow in Adam Sandler's and Will Smith's footsteps. Once again, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos and Humanik Media on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we're back to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast and listening to us as we close out today's program. Once again, you want to check us out on Fridays for the PCC Multiverse. Check out all the great stuff that Josh has got going on with Humanik Media. And I'm still very confident that we will be on the Podcast Radio Network again real soon. Just can't wait to get that network back up and running. I'm looking forward to CES 2018 this week, and obviously trying to see what I can do to get some interviews there. And I'm hopeful that I can go ahead and being able to play it on the show and give you the insight of what's going on at that awesome show over the next few episodes. Josh, we're coming to a pinnacle year here in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, everybody knows that Infinity War is coming around very, very soon, sooner than we think, coming up this May this May to theaters. We've also got some great things going on with the Marvel Cinematic Universe ourselves, and leading up to another fantastic movie, which I think is going to be a big hit, Black Panther. But I want to hear your thoughts first on what we're going to be doing in the next few episodes. Like I said, I know Nate Phillips is doing something similar, but we thought it was such a cool idea. We're going to try and bring our own perspective on it as well. So what plans do you have for us leading into this, I think was going to be a great movie coming up in Black Panther?
See, I didn't know Nate Phillips was doing this. I was going to do it regardless. Just kind of catch up, because I need to go back and watch a lot of these movies to refresh my mind a little bit. But we are going to be watching a movie before each episode, and then we're going to be breaking it down before each episode. So that way we will have watched every movie leading up to Avengers Infinity War. So each episode, tune in. You'll get to hear our thoughts on the heroes and what they're doing, where they're going, and how the Marvel Cinematic Universe has changed and shifted and evolved since the original entry of Iron Man back in 2006, I want to say, correct?
2008.
2008.
But also as well, as I pop back in here, that we also want to discuss how important or how relevant it is to what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because some of these movies don't feel like they're going to be really attached to what's going on with Infinity War and all that. Just off the top of my head, I don't want to name any pictures because obviously that would ruin it for our thoughts coming up. But I think some of these pictures have stayed relevant, and I think some others have not. Don't you think that as well?
Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of them, like, what I remember, they don't hold up too well to age and the years gone by.
But also in the way it directs it, some of these, you can see Marvel, it was some of the films changing their plans as far as what they have long term envisioned. And then at the time that they were making some of these films, some of the films have still a great tie into what's going on, but some of these other Marvel films, I don't think really still continuously hold as well as some others as far as being an important key cog in that Infinity Wars lineup.
Right, and you can see a lot of places they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't, the Spider-Man obviously caused a big shift in direction for them. Yeah, and like even as far as tone and storytelling techniques, directing, as far as all that stuff goes, like yeah, there's a big change, especially when James Gunn came along to do Guardians of the Galaxy, and that kind of created a whole new like aspect in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not just in like the cosmic side of it, but the way that the Marvel approached their directors and had the films written and kind of saw audience feedback and all that stuff.
Well, definitely that's something to check out. Again, it's going to be our thoughts on as we break down each of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films leading up to Black Panther on February 16th, and it's going to be a great time indeed for us as we for both of us. In some cases, we're going to be the first time we've seen a couple of these movies in years with some of these Marvel cinematic films. So definitely some great times indeed, a great conversation, and basically, like I said, how it ties into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to discuss that over the next few weeks on not only the Pop Culture Cosmos, but the PCC Multiverse as well. But I'll tell you what, I know you're excited about Black Panther just as much as I am. I recently was on the Voice from the Underground podcast with Jason and all those great guys there. And I was able to go ahead and share some thoughts on Black Panther. And there were some great thoughts as well that was given on the movie and what it will do as far as from not only just a movie and a money standpoint, but also as a cultural and a social standpoint as well, and how positive it's going to be. I definitely think that it has a chance to equal the money that Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did in the mid $800 million. I think that it has a great chance of matching that and being that pinnacle movie heading into Infinity War that we really, really need, that follows up on that very, very good Thor Ragnarok movie. And well, we didn't think it was so great on the Guardians of the Galaxy, but still, tying in there and making Infinity War even bigger than it already is as far as the anticipation is concerned. But your thoughts on Black Panther and leading into it, just your excitement for actually the movie and seeing that. In some ways, could we be more excited about seeing Black Panther than the Infinity War itself?
Yeah, yes and no. I think that Black Panther, obviously it has a vital missing piece in it to the build up to Infinity War, and it does look like a cool movie, and there's a lot of like questions that were asked in the end of Civil War that we didn't really get the answers to. Like, for example, Bucky, what's going on with Bucky? Is he going to make an appearance in Black Panther? But then just like the trailers for Black Panther look spectacular, and I'm not just saying that from like they did a lot of really cool stuff with like the cultural aspect of it, as far as like the music and the cities and all the cool little stuff that ties into that within that movie. But it just looks like a really cool, well put together film, like something. It looks like a visual spectacle, even more so than like Avatar did back when it came out. Just, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with these characters, because this is a very obviously a lot of these comic books are really old, but Black Panther is one of those ones that was designed for a certain era, a certain time. And, Netflix didn't do it so well with Iron Fist, but with Black Panther, it looks like they really handled the source material well.
I agree with you on that. They have done an absolute great job of selling this movie. I think the trailer, as I stated on that podcast, is probably, if not the best, one of the best trailers of 2017, and how it presented it definitely has a lot of people excited and a lot of people gearing up for superhero films still. And I don't think it's going to cause any superhero fatigue. I think people are gearing up to see Infinity War, but they're also really excited about Black Panther. And I know I am. I just thought that trailer was just awesome, and it has got me hook, line, and sinker. And I cannot wait until the family and I go out and get to check out in mid February Black Panther, indeed. But it all leads up to Infinity War against the big man himself, Thanos. And I know you got a chance to check this out, but I wanted to make sure we leave the podcast on a lighter note. But what is up with the name that Marvel gave Thanos the other day? I'll tell you what, they announced recently that I guess in one of their issues that Thanos' original name is not Thanos, and that it's something else. And when they announced it, they had a lot of people shaking their heads and scratching their heads. And I want to ask you, Josh, what do you think of Thanos' original name, Dion?
It's funny you ask me that. Do you know, when I am writing stories, I Google names. Like, I see what names are popular, and like I always want to look for one that hasn't been used, something original, something that doesn't sound stupid. And I think that Marvel has such a huge list of names for all their characters, all the aliens and all the stuff like that. I think they just ran out of like clever things to say or do. And like I don't know if Dion has any like specific meaning or anything, but it's just I think it was just lazy planning on their part, and they just got over the whole, whoever wrote the comic book got over the whole concept of trying to find a clever name, because there are a ton of alien names in the Marvel universe out there. And there's some, like, even in the Ultimate Comics, that are like they're literally two names held together by an apostrophe. So I don't know, there wasn't not a lot of thought went into it. If they're gonna make something up, they could have gone a little more frightening or intimidating, I guess. But hey, I'm glad his name is Thanos and not Dion.
Dion. Every time you think Marvel has everything going its way and planning everything well and doing everything right, they pull out Dion. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I thought that was a curveball that didn't need to be done. Thanos was just fine by me as a name. I thought that actually is a powerful and striking name that actually will come to know very strongly, and even casual fans will come to know that name very strongly over the next couple of years. That's for sure. The name they won't come to know very well, and the name that I think a lot of people doesn't want anybody to know, is Dion, because I don't think Dion is a good fit for that character. Maybe because they wanted to portray that character in an extremely different light.
It sounds like a seasoning. It sounds like a seasoning, or like mustard, a fancy type of mustard or something.
Must be. Now, if you're out there and you're listening and your name is Dion, that it probably fits you a lot better than it does on Thanos. But if Thanos needed another name, I'm not sure Dion was the right one. But you know what? I guess that's what they were trying to portray, as far as from a previous life, or what it was previously, than to what he is now, as the galaxy controlling seeker of vengeance individual that he is now at this point, than what he once was as Dion. But hey, you know what? That's what Marvel does. But It all starts coming up here in mid-February with Black Panther, leading up to the Infinity War in the first weekend of May. And we'll be helping you get into that Marvel Cinematic Universe just a little bit more with us breaking down all these great Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and so much more as we talk about it in the weeks to come on the PCC Multiverse and, of course, right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So, Josh, any last thoughts on the way out, my friend? We've had another great episode today. I want to thank Rob McCallum for stopping by in the Cosmic Crossfire, and definitely thank you, my friend, for hanging out with me once again right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Hey, it's been a pleasure as always. Look forward to some more great episodes. Hopefully, I'm hoping on sometime next week we could talk a little bit about the old Game of Thrones announcement coming up. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Definitely. In fact, we'll actually touch on that in the Thursday episode because I know 2019 cannot be soon enough for a lot of people on there. And we're going to delve into detail what our thoughts are on that on the Thursday show, as well as some initial thoughts on the CES show itself. So that and a whole lot more. And we'll break down all the news and trends in pop culture as we always do twice a week right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse. We're just thankful that you're here to listen to us. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We do truly thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.